Hill, Monrovia, Liberia. From the 7-day sitting, circumsection 53 legislature of the Republic of Liberia, Tuesday, June 10, 2025. Agenda or order of business. 1. Call to order. 2. Devotion. 3. Roll call. 4. Reading and adoption of the agenda. 5. Unfinished business. A. Report from the Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights, Claims, and Petition on the Liberia Correctional Service Act for debate. B. Report from the Committee on Post and Telecommunication on the Prohibition, Prevention, Detection, Response, and Prosecution of Cybercrime Act of 2021 for debate. 6. Report from standing committees. A. Report from the Committee on Banking and Currency on the confirmation hearing of Honorable Joy H. Gooding, Joseph F. Robertson, and Honorable Councillor Ebenezer Z. Gibson, board member designates Central Bank of Liberia. B. Report from the Committee on Internal Affairs, Governance and Reconciliation on an act to create the township of Payway in administrative district within Grand Bassa County. C. Report from the Committee on Internal Affairs, Governance and Reconciliation on an act to create the township of Owen Grove in Bokon Administrative District within Grand Bassa County. D. Briefing from the Joint Committee comprising committees on Public Works, Rural Development, and Internal Affairs, Governance, and Reconciliation regarding the deteriorating state of downtown Monrovia and maintenance of Palm Grove Cemetery. F. Briefing from the committee comprising the committees on Judiciary, Human Rights, Claims and Petition, and Commerce, Trade and Industry regarding alleged issue of raising claims and petition on Commerce, Trade and Industry regarding an alleged issue raising prices in commodities. 7. Business on President's death. A. Communication from the President of the Republic of Liberia submitting instruments for ratification. B. Communication from the House of Representatives submitting houses in broad bills entitled an act creating the township of Kamatown and provide for the governance of scene within one Hassa district in Lupa County. And I to create Massabolon Township within one Hassa Administrative District, Lupa County, Republic of Liberia. Committee. Report from the Committee on Internal Affairs on an act to create the township of Ganta in Dopaglato and Bubbling Administrative District within Grand Bassa County. An act to create the Lengbapa Township within 10-year administrative district, Lupa County of the Republic of Liberia. C. Communication from the House of Representatives on the funeral services of the late Deputy Chief Clerk. D. Communication from Senator Thomas Yaya Nimle on submission of alien work permit data requested by the Senate. E. Discussion on the report from the Labor Minister. 8. AOB. 9. Adjournment. Madam President Pro Tempore and Presiding Officer, distinguished senators, the reading of the draft proposed agenda for the 27-day sitting of the August Party.
Distinguished colleagues, you've heard the reading of the agenda for today's sitting. What is your will and pleasure? Senator Jivan Smith.
Madam Pro Tem, distinguished senators, I move, if I can obtain the second, that the agenda just read be received and open for discussion.
It has been moved and seconded that the agenda just read be open for discussion. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say yea. Against? Senator Dobopi, take your seat. Senator Amar Kone, Senator Creighton Duncan. Any intervention to the agenda? You got intervention? Any intervention to the agenda? Senator Finley?
Pro Tem, distinguished colleagues, Pro Tem, I wrote the plenary, I wrote you and the plenary on a bill to establish a vocational institute in we statutory district.
So, no, the author was not here, so I told them since I was from the county, I would give the authorization and it was read.
Oh, okay, Pro Tem, thank you.
Yeah, it was read on the floor. It's already gone to a committee room. Yeah. Any other intervention? With no intervention, can we get a motion to adopt? All in favor say yea. Against? Secretary of Senate. Senator Dillon, yeah, push.
Business on President's text. Communications from the President of Liberia. First communication. Republic of Liberia, the President. May 30, 2025. Senator Yomri Kanga Lawrence, President Pro Tempore of the Liberian Senate, in section, Capitol Building, Monrovia, Liberia. Madam President Pro Tempore, I am pleased to submit for enactment by the Honorable Legislature a bill titled, quote, an act for the collection, processing, transmission, storage, protection, and use of personal information in Liberia. This bill seeks to govern the processing of all forms of personal information by both individuals and entities handling the personal data of residents in Liberia, the ECOWAS region, or beyond, including data controllers and processors. It stems from a draft supplementary law on data protection introduced by the ECOWAS Commission on Infrastructure, Energy, and Digitalization. The draft underwent extensive validation processes, including one in Ganta, Nima County, involving representatives from 10 counties, and another in Monrovia engaging key stakeholders in the personal data protection sector. These sections ensured that valuable input gathered during the processes was incorporated into the final document. Honorable Pro Tempore, upon enactment, this bill will establish a robust legal framework to safeguard personal data privacy, covering its collection, processing, transmission, storage, and usage, while respecting the broader interests of individuals in the state. I strongly encourage the legislature to ratify this important instrument. Sincerely, Joseph Newman Boakat Sr., President of the Republic of Liberia. The first one. The second communication, Republic of Liberia, the President, May 30, 2025. Senator Yomli Kanga Lawrence, President Pro Tempore of the Senate, in section, Capitol Building, Monrovia, Liberia. Madam President Pro Tempore, I am pleased to submit for your consideration and ratification, quote, the Treaty on the Establishment of the Dakar-Abidjan Corridor among the governments of the Republic of Cote d'Ivoire, the Republic of Gambia, the Republic of Guinea, the Republic of Guinea-Bissau, the Republic of Liberia, the Republic of Sierra Leone, and the Republic of Senegal, unquote. This treaty represents a landmark agreement aimed at enhancing regional connectivity and economic cooperation. The Dakar-Abidjan Corridor is designed to promote the safe and efficient movement of people and goods, fostering regional and international trade and transport. Its implementation will help reduce transportation costs and transit times while stimulating economic growth, social development, and public-private sector partnerships across the member states. Signed in 2017 by Liberia and 5 other nations, the treaty seeks to construct a 6-lane dual multinational highway linking major cities, including Dakar, Senegal, Bissau, Guinea-Bissau, Conakry, Republic of Guinea, Freetown, Republic of Sierra Leone, Monrovia, Republic of Liberia, and Abidjan, Republic of Cote d'Ivoire. At present, Liberia and Guinea-Bissau remain the only 2 countries yet to ratify this agreement. I therefore urge the legislature to ratify this treaty, ensuring Liberia's full participation in this transformative infrastructure project, which will strengthen regional integration and economic opportunities for our people. Sincerely, Joseph Newman Boakat Sr., President of the Republic of Liberia. Second communication. The third communication. Republic of Liberia, the President, June 4, 2025. Senator Yomli Kanga Lawrence, President Pro Tempore of the Senate, in section, Capitol Building, Monrovia, Liberia. Madam President Pro Tempore, I am pleased to submit to your honorable body the below listed instruments for ratification. 1. The protocol to eliminate illicit trade in tobacco products. Liberia became a signatory of the World Health Organization Framework Convention on Tobacco Control, WHO-FCTC, on the 25th of June 2004 and ratified it on 15 September 2009. However, Liberia has not yet ratified the protocol on illicit trade in tobacco products. The objective of the protocol is to eliminate all forms of illicit trade in tobacco products, as outlined in Article 15 of the WHO-FCTC. This protocol was developed due to the international increase in illicit tobacco trade, which impacts public health. Illicit trade makes tobacco products more accessible and affordable, undermining tobacco control policies and government revenue, while contributing to criminal activities such as terrorist financing. 2. Convention on Psychotropic Substances, 1971. Liberia signed the Convention on Psychotropic Substances on February 21, 1971. State parties to this convention are required to limit the use of psychotropic substances to medical and scientific purposes and ensure their availability for those purposes. The Convention, together with the Single Convention on Narcotic Drugs, 1961, as amended in 1972, and the United Nations Convention Against Illicit Traffic in Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances, 1988, are referred to as International Drug Control Conventions. They facilitate cross-border movement of internationally controlled substances for medical, scientific, and industrial use while preventing their diversion to illicit channels. Liberia has ratified the Single Convention on Narcotic Drugs of 1961 as amended in 1972, and the United Nations Convention Against Illicit Traffic in Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances of 1988. Only the Convention on Psychotropic Substances of 1971 remains to be ratified. Madam Pro Tem, I urge the legislature to ratify these international instruments, which, among other things, are germane to curb smuggling of tobacco and tobacco products and prevent the diversion of controlled substances from legal sources while ensuring their availability for scientific and medical use. Sincerely, Joseph Dumas Parker Sr., President of the Republic of Liberia. Madam President Pro Tempore and Presiding Officer, distinguished members of the Senate, the reading of the communications from the President of Liberia following the protocol to eliminate illicit drug and tobacco products, treaty on the establishment of Dakar-Abidjan corridor, an act for the collection, processing, transmission, storage, protection, and use of personal information in Liberia, and the Convention on Psychotropic Substances of 1971.
Distinguished colleagues, you heard the reading of 3 instruments from the President of Liberia, 2 for ratification and 1 for enactment. What is your will and pleasure? Chair on Executive.
I move, if I can obtain a second. I move that I can obtain a second that the instrument as read be accepted by this floor and forwarded to the committees, the appropriate committees for deliberation to report to this body next week, Tuesday.
Without restating the motion, are you ready to vote? All in favor say yea. Yeah. Against? So you got the Senate, the act accordingly. Thank you.
Representatives submitting horses and gross bills entitled an act creating the township of Kamatahun and provide for the governance of same within Wahasa district in Lopa County, Republic of Liberia, an act to create Masabolahun township within Wahasa administrative district, Lopa County, Republic of Liberia, and an act to create Lembaba township within Tengia administrative district in Lopa County, Republic of Liberia.
Somebody done with that? You done?
The Honorable House of Representatives, June 3, 2025. The Honorable Liberian Senate in section. Capitol Building, Capitol Hill, Monrovia, Liberia. Honorable Pro Tem and members, I have the honor by directive of the Honorable House of Representatives in section to forward here to attached horses in gross bills number 1, 2, 3, entitled "An Act Creating the Township of Kamatahun and Provide for the Governance of Sin within Wahasa District in Lufa County, Republic of Liberia." 2. An Act to create Masabolahun Township within Wahasa Administrative District, Lufa County, Republic of Liberia. And 3. An Act to create Lembaba Township within Tengia Administrative District, Lufa County, Republic of Liberia. The above mentioned bills were passed into the full force of the law by the Honorable House of Representatives on Tuesday, June 3, 2025 at the hours of 12:09, 12:13, and 12:16 GMT respectively during its regular session, and hereby requests your timely concurrence. Please accept, Honorable Pro Tempore and members, the renewed assurances of my highest esteem. Sincerely yours, Midwell N. Sion, Chief Clerk, House of Representatives. Madam President Pro Tempore presiding.
So Lofa strategy had to spread the team from between the House and the Senate. Distinguished colleagues, you have the reading of 3 bills to enact township and districts, for all 3 for districts for Lufa County. What is our will and pleasure, Senator Pompey? Approach the presiding. What is your Before that motion, I want to consult. All right, what is any motion? Senator Jimon Smith.
Madam Pro Tem, distinguished senators, following the bills, I move that if I can obtain a second, that a 3 draft be submitted to the Committees on Internal Affairs and Judiciary, Claims and Petition, to come back on the floor next week, second reading, and then hold on, concurrence. Okay, then I move that the draft be submitted to the Committees on Internal Affairs and Judiciary to report back to plenary in 2 weeks.
Without restating the motion, are you ready to vote? All in favor say yea. Against? Motion carried. Secretary Senate.
Business on President's text. Communication from the House of Representatives on the funeral services of the late Deputy Chief Clerk. The Honorable House of Representatives, June 10, 2025. The President Pro Tempore of the Liberian Senate in section, Capitol Building, Capitol Hill, Monrovia, Liberia. Dear Madam President Pro Tempore, I present compliments and have the honor by directive of the Honorable House of Representatives in section to officially inform you of the death of Honorable C. Comics Chie, Deputy Chief Clerk of the House of Representatives. This sad event occurred on June 1, 2025 at the Catholic Hospital after a brief illness. Funeral arrangement is hereby set as follows. 1. The remains of the fallen statesman will be laid in state at the Capitol Building on Thursday, June 12, 2025 at 10 o'clock a.m. 2. Funeral service is scheduled to be held on Saturday, the 14th of June 2025 at 10 o'clock a.m. at the St. Moses Funeral Parlor in Gardensville, Monrovia County. Thank you very much for your usual cooperation. Sincerely, Mildred N. Sion, Chief Clerk. Madam President Pro Tempore.
Distinguished colleagues, with that information, to the announcement of the death of Honorable Congress Chair, the Deputy Chief Clerk of the lower house will ask all of us to stand for a moment of silence. Amen. Amen. And we'll ask Senator Brown, ROA, to please work with Senator Moy from the Chair on Ways, Means, and Finance to make sure that the Senate make a contribution to the burial proceedings of the Deputy Chief Clerk. Thank you.
Business of President's Text. Communication from Senator Thomas Yaya Nimle on submission of alien work permit data requested by the Senate. The Liberian Senate, Office of the Chair on Labor Committee, June 4, 2025. President Pro Tempore and members of the Senate. Dear fellow colleagues, kindly accept my esteemed compliments. Please find attached a detailed report presented on June 3, 2025 in the Liberian Senate plenary by the Labor Minister regarding the issuance of renewal and new work permits to non-Liberian nationals for your review and consideration. Best regards, sincerely, Honorable Thomas Yaya Nimlen, Chairman, Senate Committee on Labor, and Chairman, Grand Juliet County Legislative Caucus. Madam President Pro Tempore.
That's for work permit. Before that, we'll stand again. Thursday was the birthday of the Pro Tempore Emeritus. Oh yeah, Bani did it? Yeah. Well, because we celebrate it, I don't want to wait you. No, the celebration, we'll put it to Thursday. We'll put it to Thursday. All right, thank you. I thought we didn't do that. Huh? No. For security reasons, we'll put it to Thursday. So, for the chair on labor? Yes. Yeah, you want to say something about your...
Pro Tem, thank you for the opportunity. Last week, Tuesday, the Minister of Labor was here to present documentation relating to jobs, professions, and titles and positions that require work permits that were given from the time he took over as Minister of Labor up to present. And as requested by the plenary 2-3 weeks ago, the Minister of Labor submitted documentation that is in the hands of the Secretary of the Senate, but he gave us a breakdown of the number of work permits given. According to him, all renewals from the time he took over, those renewals that he inherited, work permits given for renewal was 7,633 work permits, and that constituted 75% of work permits given. From the time he took over, all the new work permits he gave, the total is 2,484, constitutes 25%. Total number of work permits given are 10,117 work permits given. That includes renewal and new work permits. And that's the information that has been submitted. With this information, Protem, it is about time that this government makes a decision to give employment to our Liberian citizens. We need to move this debate from this chamber to the environment. Today, I'd like to recommend to this plenary that the information regarding work permit is not just the responsibility of the Minister of Labor. It is our responsibility, the government of the Republic of Liberia. We are the ones that have asked the Minister of Labor to contribute to budget. In 2024, we asked the Minister of Labor to contribute $8 million to the budget. In 2025, we asked the Minister of Labor to contribute $9 million to the budget. In 2026, projected budget requirement from the Minister of Labor is $10.5 million. Where do we expect this man to get all this money from? What we are saying and what we have been saying to the Minister of Labor is, do not hire our Liberians, give work permit, we want the money. And if that is true, then we need to put a stop to it today. Today, I'm recommending to this August body that the next contribution to the minister, from the Minister of Labor to this budget should be $7 million. From now on, all other work permits should be given back to the Liberian people so they can go back to work. Although the Minister of Labor has a 5% from that contribution into his budget, but I think we can keep that $7 million and be able to put our people back to work. Thank you very much.
I think there's a report that is open now for discussion.
Everybody got a copy.
Yeah, the copy, everybody should have gotten the soft copy to their email. We will now open it for discussion. If you put up your hands, you'll be recognized. Senator G. Von Smith.
Madam Pro Tem, distinguished senators, the issue under discussion is very important. As the distinguished senator from Nigeria said, and the chair of the Labor Committee said, we as a government, as a country, as a people, we are creating conditions that will compare that sector to take a decision that will affect the very Liberian people. Labor ministry is a ministry under government that has no other place to generate money besides giving out work permit. When we increase the obligation of that ministry in national budget, we are telling him, make sure, collect $10 million for us as a country, contribute it to the national budget. But it is not a free lunch. Liberians will be affected because he wants to be seen as working. The LRA want to be seen as collecting the revenue, but if a work permit is $1,000 and you give 10 work permit to aliens, it means that 10 Liberians have a job. And so, as the minister and the senator, the chair, let it reduce, will be reduced to $7 million. The Labor Ministry, the Finance Ministry, the LRA, they should sit down and consider the contribution of the Labor Ministry to be minimum. Because when you put too much pressure on the man to generate, to contribute to the national budget, you are telling him to deny your citizens. Thank you very much.
All right, I thought the reason for asking for this report is because we have interest in ensuring that Liberians got jobs. I see the debate going towards the budget lines. So just to remind us that because, increasing the budget doesn't mean that laws should be violated or we should compromise the interests of Liberians. Senator Dillon. No, I'm not debating. I'm just putting up on track. Senator Dillon, that rule call doesn't call for violation.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem, distinguished colleagues. I want to thank the Chairman of Labour for his report, forwarding from the Minister of Labour the number of work permits issued. I would like to differ with my chairman.
Order.
Which report are we debating?
The communication
The communication from the report the minister was sent us.
Yeah, the report I was sent. So the motion was to send the report to the committee so we could bring it on the floor. They bring it to the floor. So what we did, we emailed the soft copy of that report to every senator. No, he sent us the entire list. It was emailed. He sent us the entire list of 10,000 with the categories. So we emailed the soft copies. Yeah, and we have the hard copies.
Madam Pro Tem, distinguished colleagues.
You follow the chat room? Yeah. We've got all the emails from the chat room, and as you send it there, if you didn't put your email address in, there's a problem. Yeah. Sorry, Senator Dillon. Okay.
Thank you. Madam Pro Tem, distinguished colleagues. The issue of a work permit and the fees cannot be hinged on revenue generation because that was not the purpose and intent. We got to be clear with this. The reason there's a fee charge for work permit is not to generate revenue for the government. It was purposely and deliberately intended to reduce and discourage the issue about bringing non-Liberians into our work employment sector for jobs that Liberians are qualified for and reserved for Liberians by law. That is why Tiawan Bonglo, who was Minister of Labor, under whose leadership work permit came from $400 to $1,000, he made it clear. Because it is clearly known that every law, there's a reason, there's a history, there's a purpose, and there's intent for every law, every regulation. The Decent Work Act, there's a purpose, there's a history, there's an intent for which we reserved certain jobs for Liberians. Work permit fee was increased from $400 to $1,000 with an intent of increasing it every year so that it can discourage the application for the work permit so that the job for which the work permit is being sought will be given to Liberians that are qualified, competent, available, and suitable to be employed. If you have to pay $5,000 for work permit fee to bring somebody else to be snowball, you will brother, just employ a Liberian who is a store. If you have to pay $10,000 annually for work permit fee to bring someone here to be an accountant, you will look for a qualified Liberian accountant available, suitable, and competent to do the job. The intent was not to raise revenue for government. And please, we will not raise revenue for government at the detriment of jobs for our people. We should not even imagine it as part of our discussion. Because some of the jobs for which we are taking $1,000 for the whole year, some of those jobs pay $4,000, $5,000 every month. So if we want raise revenue, if we have to take $1,000 every year per work permit, I would rather we give the job to Liberian so that that Liberian can make that $3,000, $4,000 every month in this economy. He will be able to feed his family. He can be able to extend his hand. He or she may be able to do a business that can employ other Liberians. When you hear the Liberian people asking you, we the lawmakers, what we doing here, we do a lot here. But then we aid and abet, we support, and we shield the executive when the executive is not enforcing, is not implementing, and is violating the very law. We talk about Aslam Mita coming here to create 6,000 jobs. We said that they will get 3,000 work permit. The Liberian will be asking, if they get 3,000 work permit, we have not actually provided 3,000 jobs for our people. We have provided jobs for non-Liberians. And my business, our business here is to ensure that our people are put to work. So, Madam Pro Tem, distinguished colleagues, here's the issue. The labor minister cannot claim that he inherited work permit. That argument does not hold, and he knows he's a lawyer. He should not do it. In fact, the labor minister should be held in contempt. This Senate should vote no confidence in this man already. He's dragging the thing deliberately. For the labor minister came here for 4 months, and he says that he can give us the job description for which he gave work permit. He came here this last Senate and said that LRA no, they can't go on the work permit. No, LRA wouldn't receive the money and issue flat receipt. It is the labor ministry. Nobody goes to the labor ministry to come and say, I came for work permit, and they can ask you, they can give you the permit, then you go to labor, then you go to LRA and pay the money that LRA can, are you working a job you come to do? No. The labor minister must be held in contempt, and there must be a vote of no confidence for the president to remove this man on these grounds.
Order.
Number one.
Order. Protest.
Order.
You are not recognized.
Thank you.
We have a debate.
Thank you. The labor minister, but that's my position. And I'm making my case for us to take the action. And that's what you should take it or not.
Sarah Nimble, everybody has a time to talk. Yeah, your order will not recognize. Sarah Developmental, you are protected. Please continue with your.
The labor minister must be held in contempt here or vote of no confidence on the following reasons to wait. Number one, the labor minister deliberately misled the Senate when he said that he inherited work permit. Look, it doesn't hold water because work permit is renewable every year. The labor minister has been minister more than 1 year. Every active work permit, already 10,000 work permit, he issued them. No work permit now is less than 1 year. And he's been minister more than 1 year. Whether he inherited or not, he renewed. So he can't come and say, I inherited. No, you renewed. Number two, the labor minister deliberately left out the particular, the key thing. Drivers, store boy, accountants, manager, whatever, electrician, plumber. He left out that because these are the jobs we deliberately reserve for Liberians. And the labor minister gave the job up because we said he should raise $8 million in the budget. As to say, work permit is the only source of revenue generation from the labor ministry. The labor ministry can fund, the labor ministry got different means of raising revenue. if we want the Labor Ministry to raise revenue. Unless we say only work permit. It's the only means by which the Labor Ministry can raise revenue to contribute to the budget. Then let me move it. Then let me move it. Let me move it. Madam President, I must remind us here. The Labor Minister came here for public hearing on the matter more than 4 months ago and informed us that Western Cluster employed 100 heavy-duty machine operators, drivers. 45 of them Liberians, 55 non-Liberians. Those jobs are reserved technical jobs like that, reserved for Liberians, unless no qualified Liberians. The issue here is when I ask the minister, why you paying 45 Liberians operating the same truck, the same equipment, working on the same work time? Why you paying the Liberians 600 and you paying the non-Liberians? Madam President, I need protection from my colleague. Thank you. Why you paying the Liberians 600 for operating the technical truck, and you paying the non-Liberian 3,000 for operating the same technical truck? I thought at the same scale. Why? Why you even employ more foreign drivers than Liberians? The argument was they couldn't find qualified Liberians to operate the kind of equipment which could make sense to me. But if you find some Liberians qualified, like the non-Liberian, why are you paying the Liberian 600 a month and paying the non-Liberian 3,000? These are some of the labor issues. The work permit issue, Madam President, and let me defeat the argument that 10,000 work permit is insignificant and inconsequential when compared to the population of 5.2 million. That argument is faint, it's lazy, it will never be debated. Because when you talk about employment, you don't talk about your population altogether. Because in our population, there are plenty there below 18, not in the employment category. You don't call them up. You talk about the employment, the employable population. If you take out the employable population, 10,000 in the private sector, that's not small thing. They're paying $200, $400, $1,000, $5,000. That's not small thing. The Labor Minister, Madam President, the Steward Police are appealing to the chairman of the Labor Committee. We must push this thing so that if we push for 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 jobs for our people in the private sector. Can you imagine if plenty people were employing grand dealers? Parents that will reduce on you. Yeah. The same way for Monrovia, the same way across. We must do our work. The Senate must take a deliberate decision today, Madam President, on this issue. The Senate must take a deliberate decision today on this issue. We will not, and let me repeat, we will not pass traffic law because the executive is not implementing the traffic law. When there's traffic, the public says, your lawmaker, what you're doing. We finish to have our work, but the executive is not doing his work. It comes back to us. When you want lawmaker, you get up for your car, you say you want big good citizens to head direct the traffic, say lawmaker and all go direct traffic. He know a function. What we will do? We create avenue for our people to get jobs. Then the executive give the job to non-Liberians. Then Liberians asking us, why are you doing to get our job? They will say that they want to defend Labor Minister. It shouldn't be.
Thank you, Senator Bigo.
Yes, thank you.
Senator Gaban.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem, and thank you to the chair and members of the Labor Committee. I think this is a very good report. I only wanted to make a comment on the proposal for the amount, the threshold that the committee is proposing. I think there's a need to look at the detailed report submitted and identify those positions that have been occupied by non-Liberians that should otherwise be occupied by Liberians, and come up with that number based on the actual statistics and not just arbitrarily recommending a certain amount. It may be more than 7,000, who knows? But we should go through the documents and identify that. Because I share some of the sentiments that Senator Dillon expressed. We cannot have a country that people are daily looking for jobs, and there are jobs that Liberians can do, and those jobs are not given to Liberians. Because when you look at the list, you see a lot of places, even financial managers. It's not like in the 60s where we had to bring other nationalities to be controllers here. We have universities that are producing graduates every year. Where do they get jobs if they can't get it from the private sector? That's why the government is so bright. You go to institutions, they are all starved because there are no job opportunities in these concession areas. So I think in order to address that, we have to take this seriously. Even after this debate, there should be, the committee should go back and look at the statistics provided and identify those jobs that Liberians should have. And then we can engage an executive to make sure that it is implemented. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Chief. Senator Chief.
Thank you. But it's not difficult to know the depth of this problem. If you don't have to even go to the concessions to know how serious this problem is. Just go to our stores, the supermarkets, and see what's happening there. Some foreigners are in this country only to stand before or over our cashiers. Only to stand over them. That's what they are doing. That's what they brought them for. That's what we give them what Bible is for. If you go further in the stores, supermarkets, the people that you see that do the accounting work, he says 99% of them are Asians. My colleague just said that there was a time in this country who had to import labor, skilled labor from neighboring countries. I think that's why in the past, a long time ago, had so many Ghanaians and Sierra Leoneans were having, but even secretaries, we didn't have schools, we didn't have secretaries, a long time ago. To keep us, we didn't have, but to bring people from outside. Just understandably. But later on, as a country, we decided to address that problem. And so we have these institutions in our country training our people. Why shouldn't they work? Why should they be sacrificed for foreign labor? I don't understand that. The rationale for bringing in foreign labor is only to make up for the deficit for local labor in terms of skills. If the skills are not available, we don't have, yes, indeed. The industry have to run, the commercial entities have to do business, they have to work. So these people are needed. But if we have them, and I say have them in abundance, why do we need these people? Why do we deprive our own people of work and prioritize foreigners? No country does that. No other country does that but Liberia. We open the floodgates, allow these people to come, whatever reason, they're here. Then the minister comes and tells us, oh, you know, I have a budget quota to meet, so I have to do that. That minister should have even told LRA that I have an obligation to the Liberian people. Our people don't have jobs. So if I have to issue a work permit just to generate revenue, then I'm doing a disservice to our people. It's a service to our people. What's the work permit? Somebody can say, yeah, now what it is, $1,000. Yes, bungalow. Are you the private sector then? Bungalow did that. And that was the reason. We wanted to make it difficult for them to get a work permit. Because yeah, if you bring in, get somebody to cancel over our people, and you want to pay for $1,000, then you think that you have a second thought. But it means nothing to people right now. It means nothing to them. It's not deterrence. They are bringing them. It's not deterrent whatsoever. And what is that? What is the work permit fee compared to an employment? $1,000? Even if the Liberian man is there, Liberian woman is there, making $200 times 12. How much is that? Is that not over $1,000? It's over $1,000. Then that Liberian man is going to pay taxes. That Liberian man is going to use that money to support his family, including sending his children to school. By employing that Liberian, you have also reduced unemployment. Somebody just said the reason why our public institutions are overcrowded with people is because they can't find work outside of government. No employment. But we can find work for foreigners. We have a lot of work in this country for foreigners. So they come. So they come and take the work from our people. Is that what we should sit here and debate and talk about? We should talk to them, and then LRA should meet and discuss about what kind of quota. No quota. We should scrap that altogether and tell the Minister of Labor that the purpose for which the whole work permit thing was instituted was to ensure that we do not have the influx of foreign people in our labor sector. Serve as a deterrent. But since it means nothing, even if you get up to $5,000, they will still come. Minister of Labor gave jobs to Liberian because of what the law says. Get Liberianization policy. Give law to Liberians only where the skill is not available. If the skill is here, deny them. It's like it has nothing to do with revenue. Absolutely nothing. It should have nothing to do with that. It's bad. It makes us to look bad. I feel bad myself when I go around. Sometimes one day I'll force a guy in the supermarket. I say, brother, man, we have to send over our people. We have to send over the cashier and watch over them. That's all you brought there for. Nobody else can do that. I even forcing with a guy at there's a new celebrator place that open in Marshall. I'm forcing with a guy. The two Indians there. They are doing all the recording, all the this, all the that. Is that what that Liberian can do? For God's sake, man. Why are we going as a country? Why are we going? Let us tell those. Let us need to debate this over and over. Let instruct or direct the Minister of Labor. The helper. Only those jobs that Liberian cannot do, you should give out to foreigners. Thank you. And I close on that.
Senator Brown, followed by Senator Tupu.
Thank you, Brutem. I agree that it's time we bring this discussion to an end. I agree with previous speakers that the way we do business is hurting our people. I use the word we because I know that this legislation, including the Senate, we are to blame. Also, it's not just the Minister of Labor. In performing, colleagues, in performing our constitutional responsibility to collect revenue, to pass the budget, LRA can bring draft budgets. The budget has two sides. The revenue any expenditure, we first raise the revenue. MRA can say, Ministry of Labor, 5 million. Fire service, this. Immigration service, this. Then as legislature, the joint committee, Senate and representatives, we meet jointly or sometimes individually to assess the revenue capacity of some of these agencies. Pro-tem colleagues, if we cannot get the revenue that we need, I'm telling you what we do. I'm part of the ways of me. Then we say, no, we have to increase the assessment that LRA gets. So let's assume LRA said, labor 5 million. Then we say, no, because we cannot balance our budget, increase it. Increase it. We are to blame as well. We are to blame. It is our constitutional responsibility to pass budget. We put in a budget that Ministry of Labor will collect this amount. Pro-tem, there is a direct and clear correlation between the number of certificates or permits that you issue with the amount of revenue you should generate. You listen to the minister, we brought him here several times. I kept quiet. Firstly, he had 7,000 you were dealing with. But the previous budget, we assessed him more. So he had to add additional 2,000 persons. Where did he get it from? That's what I'm saying. We are contributing to that. We're telling him to bring money. Where does the Minister of Labor bring money from? The main revenue part from the Labor Ministry is what kind of? Let me tell you something. Whether we like it or not, we have to face the facts. We have turned, that's the legislature and the executive, we have turned certain technical ministries, agencies into revenue generating agencies, which should not be. The Ministry of Labor regulates labor matters in this country. For over the years, we turned that ministry into a revenue agency. Because LPRC, NPA, and some of the revenue generating agencies do not want to pay revenue. They don't want to pay revenue. Like immigration services, LIS. We turn that institution into another revenue agency. Instead of telling the direct immigration services, go and mine our borders. Go and mine our borders. We're telling them every year, bring this amount, bring this amount. We keep increasing the amount. As a result, pro-tem, we have thousands of Burkina Faso that have invaded the Southeast. Fire service. What money does fire service have to contribute to our budget? Every year we keep assessing them. Fire service must produce it. As a result, fire service set of roadblocks harassing drivers to collect revenue. Why should we do that?
So what happened to these ministries when you're not in compliance?
So pro-tem.
Yeah, when you're not in compliance.
I do agree with the issue.
Yeah, because the
has
issue
been raised. But it has been flagged now. We have come to the grim reality that the methodology that will be used to collect revenue seems to be flawed. We have to have a reassessment of our own methods. So these instructions will go to the chairman on Ways and Means and Finance. It should come to us. Not these people. Tell us that we are giving instructions, make sure you pass.
In the budget, we always have budget notes.
So that's a whole different issue.
No. There's a direct correlation. They are direct correlation. There is direct protem. You cannot divide them. You cannot. Let's start this chairman. Whatever amount that you charge the Ministry of Labor, the immigration services, the fire services, make sure they do not undermine the core functions of your agency. We need to do that. That's why we have budget notes. But we give these four quotas and we leave them to their own discretions. Bring 8 million, 10 million. We do not tell them we do not set any benchmarks. So that man want to bring money to a million with a quota. Look at the budget. We always praise labor. We always praise immigration. These people performed in terms of revenue collections. But on the field, there are problems. There are problems. So we in the legislature and the Senate that have raised this issue, we have to have a re-evaluation of our methodology of collecting revenue. We have to. That's the instructions with them. As our leader, that's the instructions you pass on to the West Indies and Federalists.
So before I pass on my instruction,
yes, ma'am.
In an argument, he wants to hear from the protem. The labor ministry was charging $250 per work permit. Then it went up to $1,000, right?
Yes.
Yeah, to $450 to $1,000. So that was innovation. Right. They were trying to discourage foreigners from getting jobs and also trying to meet their revenue target.
Now, why do you think my mother would think you were giving them an opportunity to raise more money? It depends on the argument, you see.
But when ministers are not in compliance when it comes to raising money, what do we do to them? Ministers come and justify why they don't raise money. They come and justify. Yeah. They come and justify so the minister will not come to say I have to raise money because I want foreigners to be so poor. Yeah. So you will get justify that what we're doing right now to make sure that jobs that belong to Liberians go to Liberians. Yeah, whatever ways we can find out how to do with budget, they're separate. Not the labor ministry be innovative when it comes to raising their money, but not to compromise the job for Liberians.
Right. That's what we say. You are right. But what I'm saying, you cannot absorb the
So that is not an issue on the floor. The issue on the floor is to get those jobs back for Liberians.
Yeah, so
okay, let's stick to that, and then when we come to the revenue aspect, we can talk about it.
But you have to put it into context. This discussion has to be in context. Why are these people collecting revenue uncontrollably? It's because we keep giving them quota.
They don't have to meet the quota. Because they are not being in compliance. When they don't meet the quota, when LPRC, NPA, when those people don't meet the quota, they tell you revenue shortfall. You don't penalize them. You don't penalize them. The issue is they have no business giving jobs that should go to Liberia to foreigners.
The issue is,
I said that. People say that more.
Thank you.
No, I'm not debating. Ask me a question.
My issue, the issue raised by Senator Dillon and other senators concerning the work they make is genuine. It's critical. It's critical. We need to address it collectively. Apportioning blame will not solve the problem. We are accord as well. All of the money this man is collecting, check the budget book. It is there. Check the budget book. All the money the Ministry of Labor is raising, if in the budget is considered in the account.
So we should have another relook of how we collect our money. That's what I'm saying. But we cannot as legislature, we cannot be hypocritical to say this person alone is a cost. No, we have to think as well. That's my point.
All right, they don't have to be talking about a job for the Liberian. Let's be the first instant. Yeah, let's get a job back.
Thank you, Pro Tem.
So, Senator Moore will respond to that, and Senator Topo will be the next.
Thank you, Pro Tem, and thanks to Senator Dillon for this very sensitive issue. Pro Tem, like others have said, there's a positive correlation between the issuance of more work permits and the generation of revenue. Very positive. As such, we have to be very decisive here. Very, very decisive as we move on to the next budget year. As the chairman rightly stated, the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning has already projected another $10 million on account of labor for the issuance of work permits. Pro Tem, is not only that we are collecting the revenue, but we are also giving incentive to the ministry. So it's like we're telling them collect the money, but when you collect it, you get a percentage for collecting it. So it's a beneficial thing until we can take that decisive decision. We say we'll not collect 10 million this coming budget year on account of providing those jobs that our people have the skills to do in the labor sector. We have to be decisive because we are now enabling them to collect, and not only collecting, but putting in the budget law a percentage that goes to them directly to empower them, because that revenue enhancement, to empower them to collect. So they are not going to leave it because they are getting something from there as to their own motivation, and they're also going to disenfranchise those of our workers or citizens that have skills to do those work. So it's about now that we begin to take steps and give a correct mandate to the Ways and Means Committee in preparation of the 2026 budget, so that we work with finance and say, look, this is what we have done to get our people to get those jobs that they are able to do. So if your revenue that you projected is $10 million, and because we have to protect our international protocols and whatever, we're going to do half. It means that half of the work permit will now be given to, Liberians that have skills. So that's a way to approach it.
So the labor minister who was meeting the target without telling you Ways, Means and Finance that they're compromising the jobs for Liberians. So we didn't know that they were giving work permit to Stowport, but they were just meeting the target. Okay, so our oversight has made us to find out that Liberian positions are compromised. So that you streamline the list that you have and remove those positions and give straight instruction that moving forward, those positions should not be compromised for Liberians. So we don't need all these arguments. We have the 10,000 list. We give the instruction that jobs for Liberians should not be given work permit. We streamline. If we have to even order the system to find those jobs and insist that we don't do it, then we stick to what they can pay. So that's the decision we expect the Senate to make. But in the meantime, we stay here for more people, Senator Topo.
Dr. Kanga, your coach.
Madam Pro Tem, distinguished Senator, while it is true that I support, in theory, what is being called the liberalization policy that no one has put here because you have passed a decent work.
Sarah, use the mic. We're not hearing you.
You passed the Decent Work Act,
And I'm seeing something in 45.1, which does not talk about liberalization. It's holistically telling us that any employment, there's no employment set aside. I get it clear. So I listen to people talking about liberalization policy. I think that was those days when it comes to employment. The Decent Work Bill Act, and the Decent Work Act is clear, 45.1, that any employment before it's given to a foreigner, it must be determined that there is no Liberian qualifier. Can be clear with that one. There is no specific. So you cannot come and say, let's say 5,000 go, they won't go. No. So clear, you see, any employment. The second one I'm reading on that again. Yeah. It also said that we should only award employment to a foreigner who country reciprocate to us. That's a law you passed here before we came here. And I say support that law. I'm bringing it to your attention because it means that we cannot move this individually. It's lock rolling. We have to address it together. It's not just about calling the labor minister and giving an instruction. Because you are giving a concession out there, in your MDA, there are contents in there. And just calling the labor minister to give it a mandate, then you have forgotten that indeed you have an MDA and give some time frame into your MDAs. So the National Bureau of Construction, the NRC, and the Labor Ministry, including the immigration, because labor permit should not be issued before resident permit. And there will be a contradiction in those things. So we have to take it holistically and address it. That's my point. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good point. Senator Bonnie, followed by Senator Bill Twary.
The arguments were made.
All right, Senator Bill Twary. Followed by Senator Sokwe.
Thank you, Madam Presiding. Distinguished colleagues. The issue at bar is very serious. I want to say thank you to the former Minister of Labor, the Honorable Tiawan Bonglo, who felt that Liberian jobs had been taken away and he needed to make increment into the price of work permit. I want us as senators to encourage our labor minister and insert into this coming budget that work permit should be increased from $1,000 to $5,000. Let's make at least 500% increment to our work permit. That will serve as to discourage it. We can tell the labor minister, look, Mr. Minister, in this budget we want 20 million. He will even give 500% work permit and he can raise back 20 million. It will make an increment into the work permit. The nominees will not leave from here and go and bring Indian as snowballs. They will look for Liberians who can do the job. So it is not because of the quota given to the labor ministry that why we have more alien working low. It's because the cost is too low. There should be an increment into the cost of work permit in this country. That will serve as a deterrent. Because if you pay $5,000 to bring one person here to be snowball, you rather give it to Liberians. So, Chairman on Labor, let encourage our labor minister to make increment into the work permit. If we can make it 100%, let's make it 200% increment. Honorable Mui and Honorable new way. So I want us now to talk about.
Tell us that the way both of you fine. You have to listen to it. Go who? Go who? That I am fine. Senator, go ahead.
Okay, so to conclude, I want us to make a big jump into the increment of work permit that will make foreigners not to want. You go to the Ghana, so even sell in the market is very difficult because they're protecting the work for their people. To protect our own work here, so that people in the selling me. Yeah, the law of reciprocity is a good law.
Yes, I have a Taurus, so you can conclude his statement.
So let me increment into the work permit and submit.
Thank you, Senator Sokwe, followed by Senator Nukwe.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem and colleagues. So much has been said regarding this matter. I just want to add my little piece, Madam Pro Tem, that when the minister came here and told us that he inherited these conditions, the minister did not say that he does not have the fiduciary responsibility to change them or to correct them if they were not in line with the labor law. These permits are renewed every year. And so upon receiving knowledge that these things were not done correctly, he could have changed them. Now, the point with respect to the collection of monies to be with budgetary allocation or request, for me it's mute. Because if you don't issue permit, we don't expect you to pay that money. It's a simple thing. The reason why we are putting these things in the law is to create jobs for our people. I heard Rajitu say there are concessions that we sign and we put conditions in there. In those very concessions, the condition states, some of them, states that there will be knowledge transfer after a certain period of time. So that is also geared towards creating jobs for our people. There is something called the Local Content Act that says only Liberians who are not capable of a certain profession that you can import somebody to do that job. If you can have that person in Liberia, they must be sourced locally. And in fact, before you even advertise the job, it must be done locally. So these conditions and conditionalities simply says that we need to give our people jobs. The idea of not collecting the money is inconsequential at this point. So let's give our people the job. If we don't collect money from the labor ministry, we will not die. Thank you, Putin.
Senator Nukwe, followed by Senator Tyler.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem. Thank you. Sometimes I feel like not making a contribution on grounds that these kinds of conversations, in my mind, expose the weaknesses or some weaknesses in the governing structure of the Republic. The chair of the Ways and Means elucidated that the ministry was given an incentive enhancement quota in the budget from the funds generated through the issuance of work permits. And that was introduced at the level of the legislature, enshrined in the Budget Act, that you go collect money, whatever money you collect will give you 5%. to go after more people and collect more work permits. We ensure that that was captured in the Budget Act. And if, like Senator Brown said, we didn't capture at the time that maybe legislating such a law will compromise the very law that guarantees employment, and we have now realized that whatever happened in terms of the issuance of work permit, quote unquote, generating revenue by the generation of revenue by the Labor Ministry compromise employment for Liberians, then, as the pro tem rightly said, this is a time for us to right the wrong, to do the right thing. And that's why I feel that since we have the report, let's review the report, like the Senator from Kemo said, Senator Dalla. Let's review the report, identify the categories of jobs that are to be set aside for Liberians. And we take the decision as a government and move on. But the more we debate these issues, or sometimes we try to attribute it to one person, then that's where we feel that it's not been debated the right way. And I think it's important for the pro tem to take charge. As she rightly said, let's start anew. We all have realized that things are being done wrongly. And we cannot attribute that only to the Labor Ministry. We too have a part to play, because we approved a budget with $8 million in it for the ministry to go and issue work permit and collect that money, so that that money can be used to pay salaries. We use that money to pay salaries. We use that money to build roads, to build schools, clinics, hospitals, and the list goes on. So the fact that we now realize that that is affecting the aspect of job creation, let's do the right thing. I support the call for the committee to review, do a comprehensive review of the list in terms of work permits issued by categories, and those be discussed, a decision be taken as to what category of jobs work permit should be issued and what category of work permit should not be issued. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Nukwe. Senator Tyler, followed by Senator Finney. I think I'll be the last. Okay.
Pro tem and distinguished colleagues, I think I have a little piece to add, but let me say that, like you really said, pro tem, we seem to be going outside the argument. And the issue raised by Senator Dillon is basically, or the request is basically, we want to know the employment, the categories of employment, on the basis of which we can make decisions. Nobody is shy from the fact that we are not partly responsible. That's not the argument here. That's why we should try to correct. I heard some of my colleagues saying there's a correlation between the work permits, the collection of work permit fees, and the revenue to support the budget. But I do believe, and it's a fact, that if you were to employ Liberians, 10,000 Liberians, you can generate more than $10 billion a year to support the budget. So that argument for me is good. Unless, on my body, you say you were not debating 10 years. So if you employ Liberians, you still generate that same revenue to support the budget. So the argument cannot be only work permit fee. The work permit fee, no. So let us take a decision as a Senate to review, like my colleague says, the entirety. Let us review it and be clear as to the way we proceed, looking at the laws and everything in totality. They didn't say certain jobs are set aside for Liberians. They say jobs for which there are no Liberians before you bring in foreigners.
So if you take that into consideration and employ those Liberians that are employable, you're going to generate more than that. And that would be sufficient to send or support the budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Tyler. Whatever conference they go to the budget. Thank you, Senator Tyler. Senator Finley.
Thank you, Madam President, distinguished colleagues. This matter, I think for me, there are protocols, there are laws. We're part of ECOWAS. Movement of free goods and services. The President just sent a document for that we have to ratify. We ratify document for free movement in ECOWAS community. Our colleague from River G mentioned a decent work bill. My chairman addressed the issue of revenue. We don't want Liberians to be denied jobs. All here are politicians. We all want our people to have work. There are certain sectors in our society that basically must function. When it comes to the budget, we have certain agencies that fall in certain categories. The social category, where you have the Ministry of Gender, Social Welfare, Health. We also have the economic agencies. That's a minor thing. We can decide to move, we have the authority to move the Ministry of Labor from the economic sector to the social sector. We also have the authority to say to the minister, keep the 7,000 or $10 million from the 7,000, which means you divide 10 million by 7,000, that way each person will pay. That's a solution. Simple solution that we can come up with. Madam Pro Tem, distinguished colleagues, this is a very, very sensitive issue. And I think we need to look at it. I think we all need to basically take a very serious look, because it borders on the economy and the growth of our country and the development of our country. And so I listen to all sides of the debate, but I want to believe, Madam Pro Tem, that for us to move this process forward, we've heard from every angle. We have to take the laws that we have on the books into consideration. We have to take our international treaties into consideration. And the solution is simple. Okay. The Africa Free Trade Agreement, one. The Africa Free Trade Agreement calls for movement of goods and service free. Service, meaning a Liberian can go to Ethiopia and get a job. That's the Africa Free Trade Agreement. I signed it as foreign minister. Liberia, and India, they ratify it. Senator General, you ratify it. The Africa Free Trade Agreement is legislature for ratification. Maybe also the last time.
I protect the speaker, but that is if you don't have qualified Liberians.
No.
Every law has exception.
Madam President, I'm not justifying whether they are Liberians or not Liberians. I'm saying that we are part of these treaties. The ECOWAS treaty that we are part of, that Senator Flo, Senator Tyler knows fully well that that the movement of free of services and goods. Movement of services and goods. Yes, we collect money for ECOWAS in our budget. So we have to be realistic in how to approach this matter. We want jobs for Liberians. No if and about it. The 10,000 jobs, we want it for Liberians. That's true. But we must take into consideration what we have done. Can we undo those things? No. So let us sit down and be realistic on how to approach this matter. So, my program are not protected, so I think I'll be as well stop here. I just wanted us to reflect, to bring to the attention of this body that the laws are there. On the side of revenue, it's an easier one. When we assess you, you can decide, you have the authority to decide whether it's $5,000, $2,000, $1,000. So that issue there is a minor issue. I don't think it's anything for us to debate. Yeah, I don't think that's anything debate. So then Madam Pro Tem, while I have the floor, because you know Madam Pro Tem, motion for extension. Thank you. Madam Pro Tem, while I have the floor, item 6, B and C, if I can obtain a second, I move that we.
No, we can't go to another. We're still on the floor. We're still on the floor.
So I was asking for Madam Pro Tem.
No.
Oh, okay.
Senator Chair, followed by Senator Snow.
Yeah, so my intervention is simple. Senators. So we invited, plenary cited the Minister of Labor. The last time he was here, he came. Plenary requested that he send a list of categories of employment. He complied. Now we are going through that list. We have listened to all the arguments. The bill, the content, Senator Dava, Senator Doko, and others have said that now we should look at the list. As we mandate the Committee on Labor to look at that list, come back to us with all the categories that we think that really must answer must occupy. That is, we're going to look at all the concession agreements, we're going to look at all the protocols, and we're going to look at all other laws appertaining in order to make that decision. Then we invite the minister to have a discussion before we make the necessary recommendations for the executive. But people say, let also. I've made a statement before, when the argument, the debate for the Decent Work Act, it's now a popular argument, but I'm under obligation to say it. I just want to reflect why we have a qualified mechanic, very qualified Liberian. And an investor will go out there and bring a mechanic, which he will pay 10 times what he pays our Liberian, and pay his way to come. Why? You want to waste money? No. There's a reason. And that reason is our work habit in this country, which all of us are experiencing. You call Liberians, say, build my house, do this. Oh, they're excuses. Oh, it's raining. Oh, my son's sick. Oh, my daughter's sick. And that is also compelling foreigners, investors, material flat, all that bad work habit. As we talk for our citizens, for them to get jobs, as we fight for them, they have to help us to fight. And the only way they will help us is to improve their work habits. To all Liberians, please
habits. We have work to do. Take your responsibility seriously. If we don't do that, people will be forced to go bring Ghanaians, to bring Sierra Leoneans, and other people. Pretend that's my intervention.
Thank you.
Sir, we'll close the Senator Smoke.
Thank you, Pro Tem. Let me thank Senator DeLong for let me thank Senator DeLong for flagging the issue. But I think the argument from Senator Dopo, could be used by the Committee on Labor. Like he rightly said, there are jobs. If a job that Liberian cannot occupy, then you can give the job to foreigner. So I think the argument that because we're making the labor ministry a revenue collecting agency or ministry is a lazy argument. The laws are clear on our books. And because of that, I will differ with the former foreign minister, Pankoli, when he referenced ECOWAS. That's not true. Even at the ECOWAS Commission in Nigeria, you get category of staff. So G staff, general staff, for example, is reserved for Nigerians. It's reserved for Nigerians. And that's why when we were lobbying or continue to lobby for ECOWAS institutions to come to our country, because the G staff is for the locals. You can't go and take a Sierra Leonean because you say he's an ECOWAS citizen and bring as a driver or as a sweeper in an ECOWAS, except that person change the document and fake it to be a national. The professional staff are reserved for international tender, international competitive process. But G staff. And that's what we're talking about. So our G staff.
Our ECOWAS representatives giving the clarity. Yeah, listen to the ECOWAS representatives.
We can challenge it. We can listen to Senator Talon they want.
Now we can hear from the ECOWAS representative. Go ahead and let us know your problem.
The general staff, the G staff.
Senator Taylor, Senator Finlay, Senator Chair. That is the ECOWAS representative.
When you start being foreign minister, will change the law. So for them, the issue of creating, I think every one of us here on the same page. But I will get close with what the Pro-Tem Emeritus said. We tussle, let tussle. Liberian job habit, the discipline of our people. That's our issue, Pro-Tem. And I don't think any of us here will put our hand up that all the jobs we have, we are only giving it to Liberians. Because our people are the problem. Why do you think farmers today in Liberia going to looking for Burkina Faso to go build a farm? You call our own people to come do plumbing work, to do carpentry, to do something. I'm into construction. So I know what we face in the construction field, into real estate. So, for them, I think just how we're fighting for our people, let them take the call from Senator Abache to say, yes, the senators or legislators fighting for us, let's improve our job habit. By the time you employ the team, you already shareholder in your company. So in Pro-Tem, I think this is a very important argument, and honestly, Senator DeLong, I think you spoke so passionately about it, but we got to look at the labor ministry. Yes, they're supposed to generate revenue. Everywhere in the world, labor ministry, the component of the function that will bring revenue. But they got to look at the job classification.
You cannot take work permit and give it to a foreigner to be a driver because we gave you a target to raise $10 million per budget. No. You have categories. And if those categories are not for foreigners, if they are not professional or positions that Liberians cannot occupy, then you cannot give it out to foreigners. So I submit pro tem. Thank you.
Thank you. So before the motion, somebody want to speak? Oh, Senator Corner, all right. You can.
Pro tem, thank you. I'll be brief. The Labour Minister's argument about revenue, I think, has been addressed. I think the issue of work permit and jobs for Liberians is broader than just revenue generation. The Labour Ministry really is about protecting workers and also developing a workforce for economic growth. On the issue of revenue, we can make that decision here, but I think it's beyond that. I want to re-echo as an employer of Liberians myself. All right, the struggle we have with our people. I hope we can also address that as we address this labor issue. For example, in my situation, when I pay my workers, they all disappear for a few days. And then until the money dries out, then they come back again. And in between, there is a loss to my business. I mean, this is a fact. What we heard the minister say in the committee meeting that I attended was that some of the jobs that these foreigners are bringing their relatives and other people to do here that Liberians should be doing really is because it's either theft or, not showing up for work on time and all this issue, and it's affecting their business. I don't think that should prevent us from pushing that Liberians be hiring Liberians until you can find the honest ones to be there. But that should not prevent you from looking for, just keep firing until you find the right person. And also put in place orientation, so that the people know your work culture and your company's mission. Let me just say it. I know this is a political issue, people talking out there, but businesses are not doing business for charity. The motive of business is profit making. The more profit they make, the more revenue we generate. So the issue of revenue generation from 10,000 people is mute here, because if you get good workers in the businesses will grow and then they will pay more taxes. But we should encourage them. If the issue that we all are facing in our respective businesses where we employ our people, if it's the same issue they are facing as the minister said, then just keep hiring Liberians until you get the right one and put in place training programs, disciplinary measures to discourage this type of behavior that will undermine the profitability of your business. Everywhere in the world, foreigners are hired to do work. Liberians are in Ghana, they're working there. Liberians are in other places, they're working there. I don't think we should shut the door to foreigners working in our country. But if we go by CFTA and all these protocols, some of the big countries that we sign those protocols with are in better economic position than we are. So we have to be selective in how we enforce the protocols in our country to address this issue of unemployment. The labor minister should be telling us how many, unemployment it is in the economy.
so that we can work with the agencies that are supposed to be generating jobs in the private sector to support them to take care of that. That's the addition I wanted to make to the colleagues, that we allow the committee to come with a full report, but then the recommendations should be stronger. And I think we need to elevate this just beyond the Minister of Labor. You, the pro tem, and the executive chair or whoever, should sit down with the president and talk about this. We need to look at not just the Lebanese that are coming here, but all the big companies that we've given massive incentives to. That's another debate. We're coming back to you, Madam Pro Tem, to review our incentive regime. The world has changed right before our eyes since January. With tariff regime, with this, with that, we got to fight for ourselves. We are in a different world now, Madam Pro Tem and distinguished colleagues. So yes, we can fight for 10,000 jobs, but the economy has the opportunity to create 50,000 jobs if we actually do deep diving into all of these companies and the massive incentives we are giving them in order to operate here. I think we are still struggling to see the impact in terms of employment for our people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. So, Senator Batikwa and his committee, they are working on the second phase that you are suggesting, the incentive part of it. All right, so from all of our input, it shows that even with the decent work bill, liberalization law, Liberians should still have the priorities and the first options. We asked for the list, we've gotten the list. I think the committee should go and streamline the jobs as the job that must be given to Liberians, and the jobs, the two categories, jobs for Liberian and category 2, job titles or whatever that should be studied. You have to study it because some of those jobs can still be given to Liberians if they are qualified. So if we streamline and get those two categories, then we can call the ministry back to make the decision. Also, as we're doing our Ways, Means, and Finance, you have to take note, engage the ministry, let's look at other avenues for his revenue generation. If we have to increase the payment for the work permit, we need to look at that. But after the hearings and after the recommendations, we have to take actions. Yeah, and the action, we must see the kind of impact the actions will make. Because that will bring in concessions, and those conversations will go as far as making sure that Liberians are employed in those positions, and it will be verified. So I think that's how far we want to go. So maybe we need to get a motion for that. A motion from the floor to close on what would be the next step after the argument, after the debate. Senator Jala?
Madam Pro Tem, am I protected?
Senator Jala, you are very much protected.
Madam Pro Tem, in light of the enlightening debates, from a cross-section of eminent and eloquent senators on the future of our citizens when it comes to employment, I will move, if I can get second there. I will move, if I can get second there, that the committee be instructed to take into consideration the debate across the floor, be mandated to review the debate across the floor in keeping with its report, to come up with refined recommendation so that the Senate can be able to make an instructive decision as a way forward for our citizens to benefit in the line of employment with their non-Liberian counterparts. I so move.
That motion clear? All right. With the motion, it has been moved and seconded. And we've all restated that motion. I said the motion was clear. And we've all restated that motion. Are you ready to vote? Or ready to by Senator Snow?
Protest police, to my well-landed councillor, senior senator of Lofa County, an astute senator who I have a lot of respect for. I'll be ready to vote if the movement will accept that after the debate, that the committee goes back to do its work and report to this plenary in 2 weeks for additional debate and definite decision by the Senate. All right, report in 2 weeks.
Sarah, what is the motion? Sarah? All right, let's hear the motion. 2 weeks too long. What is the motion? What was the motion, Senator Jala? The motion should be to streamline the list into 2 categories.
As stated by all of the. That's my motion.
Yeah? The motion to streamline into 2 categories?
Yeah.
All right. The motion is to streamline. It has been moved. It has been moved that a report that the list from the Minister of Labor be streamlined to 2 categories. 1 position that Liberian must take, positions that need to be studied, and that the committee should report here on Tuesday, right, Senator? Yes. All right. Should report here on next week, Tuesday, after which we will invite the minister to make a final decision for the benefit of Liberians. Are you ready to vote?
Already.
Senator Topo.
Already. Yeah, I'm not ready.
To the movement. Today we passing
But before that, let me just announce that we have a hearing here with the Minister of Agriculture. We're talking about a communication that was put on the floor by Senator McGill, talk about the 124 million for roads. We cannot identify the roads. So that's a very serious hearing. So we want everyone to know that. No, it's very serious. We're not put it to Senator Topo. Yeah, readiness.
Senator, given that to the movement, given that the minister did not deny or confirm the issue of non-compliance, and the fact that Section 45.1 of the Decent Work Act has strict compliance points, I will be ready to vote if we can include that as of today, while we look to the instrument, that the minister be mandated by this plenary to act in full compliance with Section 45.1 of the law, irrespective of very new generation. Which law? For the Decent Work Act.
I respectfully deny the amendment.
So the motion, Senator Jala, because when you finish streamlining, that means I can't act in full compliance.
It will be premature.
So it's the same motion you made. So
No, let me talk. When the
approach the priest Ali.
let me get there.
Senator, approach the priest Ali. Why? Senator, approach the priest Ali. Huh? Senator, you accept or deny? I collaborated, accepted.
President,
Yeah.
I will be ready to vote at the moment I can take into consideration there are 10,117 work permits that cannot be done in 1 week by the committee. So we are asking for 2 weeks.
Yeah, so we need a special secretariat to help. We asking for 2 weeks. 2 weeks are next week, Thursday. Next week, Thursday. You need auditors? Yeah, so you have internal staff that you can use, and you can have we can have provision for that. This is an important exercise. It's an important exercise movement. They want to be very effective. All right, accepted. Any other readiness? With everything clear, are you ready to vote? All in favor say yea. Against. So no, President, we just want to accept 2 items. I think 2 or 3 items, and then the agriculture minister is here. So they were here, but we decide after the 3 items. Central Bank is here. Secretary of Senate. Yes. So there are reports that we need to vote on and confirmation. We'll keep all the other reports for debate. Yeah. So maybe we don't report that we need to vote. We don't report somewhere. Yeah. Yeah, they're reading that. Yeah.
Report from the Committee on Banking and Currency on the confirmation hearings of Honorable George H. Gooding, Professor F. Robertson, and Honorable Councillor Ebenezer Z. Gibson, all member designate of the Central Bank of Liberia.
Confirmation report. Can we have one confirmation report yet? How many we have there? So we have to do Central Bank. Yeah, we have to do Central Bank separate because you want to turn. So the confirmation report for Central Bank motion to vote on the confirmation report for the board members for Central Bank, Senator Topo. All right, without restating, Secretary of Senate, please call the roll for voting. We need to turn. Yeah.
Mansour Radukan. Senator Sahari Joseph.
Senator Taylor, we are voting. You have to be in your seat to vote.
Senator Ibrahim Daros Delon.
Senator Ben, board members.
Yeah. Honorable Josh A. Gooding, Joseph F. Robertson, and Honorable Councillor Ebenezer Z. Gibson, both members, Central Bank of Liberia. Ebenezer Z. Gibson, Councillor, Josh H. Gooding, and Joseph F. Robertson. Grand Bassa County, Senator Bezogab Finley.
Vote yes.
Sino County, Senator Councillor Gossin Che. Senator Quinton O. Duncan. Marion County, Senator J. Blebo Brown. Senator James P. Biney.
Yes.
Grand Kidman County, Senator Simeon Boyman Taylor. Senator Daba M. Kapla.
I vote yes. And Simeon vote yes.
Bon County, Bon County, Senator Prince Cameron Moy. Senator Johnny Kekpe. Nimba County, Senator Nyandi Tuan Jr. Senator Sandra G. Koga. Grand Judah County, Senator Zoe Imaya Penum. Senator Thomas Yaya Nimman. Lofa County, Senator Councillor Joseph K. Jala. Senator Momonti Cyrus. Bomi County, Senator Edwin Nevin Snow Jr. Senator Jenica X. Tyler. Mark County, Senator Anthony James Imaya Nukwe. Senator Nathaniel F. McGill.
Yes.
Rosales County, Senator Wellington Javon Smith. Senator Bill Tiet Power. Grand Crew County, Senator Professor Abbott Tupache. Senator Unity H. Batekwa. Rural G County, Senator Jonathan Bocha Sobwe. Senator Francis S. Dopu II. Bapuru County, Senator Bodo Kane, and Senator Amara M. Conning.
Yes.
And the President pro tempore distinguished senators, 25 senators voted in favor of the nominees.
So we have to tell, so the nominees are hereby confirmed. Secretary Senate, quickly go through the other votes.
Report from the Committee on Internal Affairs, Governance and Reconciliation on I create the township of Payway in the administrative district within Grand Bassa County. A bill for an act to create the township of Bokon administrative district within Grand Bassa County. And a bill to create the township of Gianda in Dubai Gredo and Portland administrative district within Grand Bassa County. recommendation. It is the fervent hope of the committee that these bills be enacted by the Senate and referred to the House of Representatives for concurrence so as to involve inhabitants of these areas in the local governance of Grand Bassa County. Madam President Pro Tempore. Madam President Pro Tempore.
Distinguished colleagues, you heard the reading of the report from the Committee on Internal Affairs. Yeah, what is the motion? Senator Finlay?
Madam Pro Tem, distinguished colleagues, I will join the Pro Tem on behalf of the people of Grand Bassa County to ask for your vote to endorse and pass into law said bill. I so move.
Second by Rivas. All right, the chairman said, yeah, okay. Before we say the motion, I read the vote. All in favor say yeah. Again. Motion carried. Motion carried. Majority. Senator Senate. No, man. Alright, so we have briefings with the Friday, but the agriculture hearing is very important, so I don't know, maybe we can go for recess. So we can recess with Sunday for 30 minutes. All of us have to come back because our hearing is very important. Yeah. Yeah, so I think we'll not do a motion to adjourn. Please make sure we put the elephant in our hearing. Alright, so we'll recess for 30 minutes. Huh? I'm telling you about the elephant thing, I'm reminding you.
As unfortunately, this is how we come to the end of this section. The senators are going for recess to come back for a public hearing with the Agriculture Minister. Keep following me. My name is Ernest Bender. Thanks for watching.